Hello, hello. Good afternoon to you. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our first Mindful Monday. As you come in, ladies, say hello. If this is your first time watching me, good evening. My name is Berlin. I am a mom, a wife, a registered nurse, the CEO, the founder and CEO of ThinkFeminine LLC. So yes, I am the lifestyle strategist. Welcome to our first Mindful Monday. So before we begin, especially if you are, just coming home, if you're still in traffic, if you're at work, wherever you are, let's take a deep breath, relax, because this is our time. I've been wanting to do this for so long, ladies. I'm like, listen, this is it. We're going to start every Monday for Mindful Monday. We're going to meet here, okay? Not feeling rushed or anything. Just, take it all in, relax, breathe, and we'll talk. It's not going to be long, so I'm going to be here for 15 minutes, just briefly giving you a little background. Happy New Year to all of you. This is the year, okay? This is the year. 2025, I'm not sure. I don't know about you personally. I'm not sure about 2025, but 2026, it's going to be the year where we are intentional. We are more intentional about what we want to do for our lives, how we want to show up into the world, and how we want to grow, okay? So, tonight, I want to talk about something many of us feel, but we don't always say it out loud, feeling disconnected with ourselves, okay? This topic for January, this whole January, we have a theme. So every month going forward, just to give you a little background information, every month going forward, we're going to have a theme. And the theme for January is returning to yourself. Returning to yourself. And we also going to have our weekly topic. And tonight's topic is awareness. Is awareness. And if you are part of our Think Feminine lifestyle community, you know we have our daily focus. For example, today is Mindful Monday. Tuesdays, we focus on, it's Tech-Free Tuesday. Wednesdays are Wellness Wednesday. Thursday, Thankful Thursday. Friday is Feel Good Friday. And Saturdays, we focus on self-care. It's self-care day. Sunday, right? Sunday is Soulful Sunday. So we have a focus for each day. And this is just to add on, what we've been doing to make it more, chatty, more connected with us here on this page. Hello, Latonia. Hi. So I wanted to, okay, let me start coming here because I promised, right? I promised last year that I'm going to start coming here, doing lives. So this year we're doing it every Monday. Every Monday we're going to meet here and chat a little about our lifestyle, okay? And again, I'm going to have a weekly focus, okay? And today, again, it's about awareness. Because we're returning to ourselves, okay? Returning to selves is to yourself is the theme for January, because we have to set up the tone. We have to set up the tone for the year, okay? And if last year we've been so distracted with so many things. I mean, it's gonna happen this year. It's life in general, right? With the news, with the noise, debates, negativities. We have all types of, stuff going on around us. So, I want to talk about something, many of us women have been feeling, but we don't always say it out loud. Being disconnected, okay, with ourselves. Why? I don't know when you realize this, but I know exactly, I've been experiencing, this, and last year was it for me. Last year, that's when all the light bulbs start. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's gonna be on from now on. Because you know how sometimes you're experiencing life as a woman, And there are things, there are changes, you have to make. There are, things that you've been neglecting. And sometimes we get mad, right? We get mad at the job. We get, angry at, friends that have not been there, how we've expected them to be there for us. There are people that have betrayed us and we feel so hurt. There are people that, who used us and we like, oh my God, we become so angry until I don't know about you, that has been me. There are many times that I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe I don't need to be nice anymore. Maybe I need to be, tough. And, until I realize, no, I don't need to change. You don't need to change. Okay. You don't need to change. You simply need to be aware, because a lot of times there are patterns. There are patterns, right? Sometimes I'm like, do I have, something in my forehead telling people, okay, use me, I'm nice, come use me, right? I don't know about you, because I recalled many times that I've bowed people, money to people, right? And they act like, so instead of being angry at them, for a while, I started becoming like, okay, maybe I need to be, and then, I realized I don't need to change, right? I don't need to change. I simply need to be aware of the pattern. Why do I do what I do? Okay. Why do I behave this way? Do I need to stop smiling because I don't want people to think, oh my God, they're going to think I'm nice. And, no, I don't need to start, to stop smiling. I don't need to stop being me, right? You don't need to stop being you. You simply need to be aware of the patterns, or being aware of, because a lot of times when there's an experience, it's not just the person, it's us too, right? It's not just the other person, it's us. What are we doing? That's influencing how others see us, treat us. How we showing up into the world matters, okay? So again, if you have been that woman who's, been feeling that, okay, everyone else, have mattered, the job, the kids, I've been showing up for, everything else, however, not for myself. So this month, we are returning to ourselves, okay? This topic, it might not seem much, but trust me, it's gonna set up the tone for the rest of the year. Hello, Zori. Hi, Antoine. Hi, Antonine. Hi, how are you guys? Thank you for being here. So yes, it's going to set up the tone. I'm not going to be here for long. I just wanted to come here to briefly do a little chat. So every Monday, we're going to have our mindful Monday, where we, focus on our mindset, how we feeling, right? How we showing up for ourselves, into the world. And, our feelings, our emotions, everything, our experiences, because it's, it starts with awareness, which is the topic. Okay. We have to be aware. We have to be aware what we, how we feeling, what we doing, the patterns, right? Because being self-care, right? Because a lot of times I talk about self-care, it seems like redundant. However, it's so important because it's the foundation, okay? Because once you become aware, then you're like, okay, I need to start doing things, I need to start prioritize me a bit more. I need to, because a lot of times you might think, oh, this is such a luxury. It's not a luxury. It's the foundation of everything else. So yes, returning to yourself, it does not mean we're going to change overnight. We're not going to change overnight, okay? We just simply need to realize, okay, where am I feeling depleted? Where am I feeling depleted? Because last year, I recall, the year started really nicely, and then boom, I started getting really sick. And the reason I was so sick is the fact that I was not doing what I needed to do. I have a condition with sugar. I'm sweet. Okay. So I was not eating well. I was not on any medication. I wanted to just, and then when you couple that, right, not eating well, not sleeping well, I had other folks that I had someone that I was helping, right? I was helping and I was putting all my time helping that individual, that I was not taking care of myself. And I became so hurt and so sad because the person I was helping didn't even, wasn't even grateful, right? Meanwhile, I spent 3 months of my life pouring into that individual, caring, for that individual, neglecting what I needed to do for myself. In the end, I ended up being sick. When the reason I was so hurt is the fact that I have promised myself, not to do, not to repeat that same pattern, that same old pattern I used to, and pouring into everything else and neglecting, going to the gym, neglecting eating right, neglecting going to sleep. Okay, I still struggle with going to sleep on time because we have a lot we're doing, especially, I don't know about you, especially if you have, different things. If you're not just a mom, many of us are not just, have careers. Some of us have many things going on. So if we are not aware, okay, if we are not aware, we will, become overwhelmed. So, it's a mindset, okay? It's a mindset. It's a mindset. We have to, start, we have to understand that, this month in particular will set the tone for the rest of the year. So that's why I'm like, I need to come here, okay? It's not, I don't have a lot of time. However, this is a passion. This is a passion for me because I've had so many experiences with, so many failures as well. I've had many wins, but I've had so many failures that, I've learned from. And because of those failures, I've gained wisdom, from them. So sometimes our failures are, lessons. Okay. They are lessons. So are you this woman who have been feeling stretched? Okay. And, you feel like resting has been such a, a challenge. Like it's, you know, prioritizing you, have been such a challenge. This is for you. Okay. If you were watching, the live, this is what I want you to ask yourself every day. Okay. What do I need right now? What do I need right now for me? Because I've been doing that a lot and it has been helping. And, if when we do that, we become more connected with our feelings, with our needs, with things that are missing, because sometimes I wake up feeling so tired and I'm like, okay, let me take few minutes before I jump out of bed, right? Let me take few minutes with me, okay? And ask myself, first I always, ask, how are you feeling right now? How are you feeling? If I had a rough day the day before and not sleeping well, I would feel like, ooh, drained. Sometimes I feel dehydrated, okay? And, whatever that may be. So if I'm feeling dehydrated, I know for sure the day before I was not drinking enough water. If I'm feeling super tired, I know I needed more rest, or maybe I needed to sleep earlier. So, if it's during the day, you're asking, because sometimes we get so tensed up and we forget to, breathe, right? And I'm teaching my kids, you know, that all the time. I'm like, when they're feeling anxious, I'm like, okay, sit still, relax your shoulder, and start breathing through your nose and slowly out, you know, through your mouth. Because that can do so much, you know, especially if you're a nurse, especially if you're in the healthcare field, you know, ask yourself, you know, that question. Because I used to do that all the time when I'm, you know, going through a lot of stress with my patients. You know how sometimes they bring one patient and then, you know, another one, and then, you know, you have another one that fell and the other one is like, you know, and you're like, oh my God. So and it could be in the corporate, you know, world that, you know, you having that those same experiences. You have things that are due and your supervisor, you know, I have a close acquaintance of mine, you know, recently that have been fired because the amount of pressure she was going under, you know, in the banking system. And I was thinking the you know, the healthcare field, the banking system. I mean, they had reports, they have, you know, agendas and things that have to be met, and she was not able to meet their goals, and they, you know, and it was a warnings after warnings, and the anxiety, just the anxiety. So, you know, and as women, it does not stop there. You know, I'm pretty sure some men, you know, men as well, you know, not just women, men as well. It does not, your stress does not stop with, you know, exiting, you know, your job. You know, you come home, you know, you have obligations, you have, you know, things that you need to do, you know, with your family. If you married, or if you are a parent, you have many things you still have to do when you get home. So, you know, being aware, you know, asking ourselves, listen, what do I need right now? What do I need? Okay, maybe I need to, you know, take a deep breath. Maybe I need to stop. Maybe I need to tell my, you know, my boss I'm going home, right? I'm not, you know, maybe I need to go to the hospital. You know, that actually saved my life. I was feeling so ill. I'm like, oh my God, I've never felt that way. And I went to the hospital, and the doctors, they were like, oh my goodness, thank God you came. If you had stayed overnight, it would not go well. You know, it would not have gone well for you. So, you know, sometimes, you know, just listening to ourselves, listening to our bodies, asking questions, asking ourselves how we, you know, it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of an earthquake. I don't care, you know, I don't care, you know, ask yourself, what do I need right now? What do I need, right? What do I need right now? You know, and it makes a lot, it makes a huge difference. So I don't want to go on and on and on. Okay, I don't want to go on and on and on. I'm trying to see if I jot anything else down. Okay, so a lot of times, you know, I want to make that point too, because I put it down. It's not what expected of you, you know, it's not what you should do. Okay, it's not what, because I, you know, it's what do I need? Okay, what do I need? What do you need? What do you need for this year? What do you need? What do you need for this year? Oh my goodness. I was, you know, thinking, I was brainstorming, because all week I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna, you know, be doing live sell. You roses who have been on my business page, you know, I told you guys that I'm not doing any live sales until next Thursday, because I need to organize. I need to ask me, what do you need for this year? What do you need? Okay, ask yourself that. Okay, ask yourself that. And, you know, everything else will fall into place. So again, our January theme is returning to yourself. Okay, returning to yourself. Again, it will set the tone for the rest of the year. If you are not returning to yourself, this year is just gonna, you know, it's gonna be December, and you're gonna start asking like, oh my goodness, my business is not doing, too bad, right? The kids are not doing too bad. My job, oh my God, they are so happy with me. However, I am not well. Right? I am not well at all. And a lot of times, if we're not well, even if the business is doing well, even if the children are well, even if the job, is happy, things gonna start unraveling sooner or later, because you are the center. Okay, you are the center. If you're not well, everything else just gonna start falling apart. So this is so important. Okay, Mindful Monday. Welcome to our first Mindful Monday Live. We will be back next week with a different focus. This week is awareness. Focus on awareness, being aware, with you. Okay? Being aware with you. Ladies, I can't say it. I can't say it anymore, okay? I can't say it any more than I've been saying it. You need to prioritize you this year. Okay? And by being aware of how you're feeling, and what you need is key. Do this week. Because once you start doing it, you're gonna keep doing it. Because every time I'm like, you know how many times, there are things that I've been invited to, and then I'm like, no, stay home. You're too tired. Whereas before, I used to jump from one thing to the next, one thing to the next. I wasn't listening to me. I wasn't asking myself that question. So ask yourself that question this week, every day. Okay? Let's continue embracing womanhood. Let's think feminine. Give me a like, share the live. It should get, the first live, it's never, this is my first one. So, it might not be, it will get more comfortable. It will get more personable. I hope that I did not do a horrible job with our first live. And then hopefully we can have more of you here, and we can ask questions, we can answer. It's not gonna be long. It's gonna be 20. The most I will be staying here for Mindful Monday is 30 minutes, so we can talk and share experiences. And I'll definitely have a focus topic for you. And next month will be, a different theme. However, throughout this month, next Monday, we'll come back returning to yourself. Okay, returning to yourself. Let's return to ourselves and start feeling whole, because we are the foundation. Okay, the self is the foundation. And then once we are, okay, then everything else will fall into place. If we're not, then things will definitely start unraveling, and we cannot grow. We cannot achieve balance, basically, if we're not taking care of ourselves. So a lot of times as women, we don't prioritize that, because we have so much going on. We don't feel that it's a priority. And I'm here to remind you that you are a priority. You are worth it. And we're gonna do this, because it starts with that. We can't, because after, I feel like last year was my my aha moment. Like, this is it for me. It's up from here, because I've had all the experiences. I've made mistakes after mistakes, and and last year was like everything just come home for me. Like, yes, Berlin, you need to change. You need to change your ways. It's not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. Okay, you need how people treat us has a lot to do you know, with us. A lot of times, you know, you can't be angry at everything else, at the job, at, you know, your friends, you know, how they're not showing up for you. Okay. Sometimes we need to see us too. Okay. What are we putting out? You know, because people a lot of times don't value you if you don't value yourself. People don't prioritize you, okay, if you're not prioritizing yourself. It starts with yourself. Sometimes we want others to love us, but do we love, you know, do you love the person you're asking someone else to love, right? So again, it starts with us. So let's become aware of everything, and, you know, things will start falling into place. We're gonna grow here. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. We're gonna keep doing it. Listen, if you have comments, if you have suggestions, those of you who've been doing this, those of you who are professionals and this sort of connecting with your audience, you know, listen, feel free to let your girl know. Okay, I can, I'm humbled. If you have you know, quick advice, I don't mind you sharing that with me. Okay, so thank you, ladies. Thank you for those of you who pop up, and those of you who will be watching this live. Let's meet again on Monday, and the roses in our Chic Roses closet, we're meeting this Thursday at 4 p.m. on our business page. If you have not joined our groups, feel free to do so. Think Feminine Lifestyle Community is for you. Okay, if you're into fashion, join our group, the Chic Roses Closet, and let's embrace womanhood through beauty, fashion, and wellness. And definitely on Mindful Monday, we're going to start discussing different topics, so we can become more connected and grow together. You know, I'm excited about our community, and I hope you are as well. And thank you for being part of Think Feminine. If you're on my personal page, you are part of Think Feminine, because I am also Think Feminine, right? So thank you. Let's embrace womanhood. Let's think feminine. Bye-bye. Happy Mindful Monday. What do I need to do right now? What do I need right now? Okay. Bye-bye. I believe that's it. Enjoy your day. Be safe and continue being beautiful. Bye-bye.